I am in a conspiracy mood this week. So if you did ask me this week, I seem crazy.
Yes. Yeah. Crazy
I'm not logical this week.
That's fair. If you could turn a passion of yours into a career, would you? And what would you be doing right now? I feel as though I get to have this conversation and dive a little bit more when we get to talk to Woody Watts, the creator of all things creative, from Watts Creative Studios to Bigfoot to what else?
You make me sound. I sound all over you, but you're right. Like to Bigfoot, to paranormal.
Yes.
To what else do I do? A true crime.
Yes.
Conspiracy theories. Anything.
You record
Everything.
People screaming and running for movies. Like
I do.
You have a list. Like, it's funny. Earlier today, I was talking to somebody about LinkedIn and how to make your LinkedIn and better. And of course, you come in right after, and I'm like, dude, Woody would just have like a whole list.
That's it.
It would just keep going.
That's it. You gotta have a thing. Like, like what's the point in like you're given the opportunity to do what you love? Why not? Right? Like why not let your personality and your passions come through to your work? And I think people recognize it. I think people today's age, like there's a transparency thing where they know when you're like putting it on or whatever. And for me, I just so happen to be weird. So
he just so happens to be weird and relatable.
I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but the people that I am, we work really well together.
So, Woody, thank you for coming in on our podcast today. Tell the listeners and the viewers, because we're doing both. We're recording and recording.
If I forget to look up, sorry.
So tell them what you do in Lynchburg and as a whole.
All right, so my primary business, professional Woody here, is I run Watts Creative Studios. Yes. And I started that, I think I've been doing that full time for 7 or 8 years now, but I've been doing it probably for longer. I put a name on it at one point and then officially stepped away and was able to do it full time. Yeah. But in that, I do full service marketing. Mm-hmm. So what that means is under our roof, we can basically provide everything marketing related, which it's morphed over the years. And that's why this is a good conversation, because it started off as primarily video and TV commercials. Yeah. And for video, back when I started, it was really important to do these long form, like, well, I say long, but now, 3 to 5 minute videos that told a story. And that was what I started, right? And then over the last few years, a lot of the clients that I work for, I saw they needed help in other areas, and that technology was evolving so much and the marketing area was evolving so much. So it's like I need to help this segment of the business population that are not getting left behind, but are just busy running their businesses and don't have time for that. So that's what we stepped it up, and now we're a full service agency where we take care of anything they need: websites, videos. We still do a ton of videos. Live streams became popular during COVID.
Thanks, 2020.
Oh man, I was at one point I was doing 2, 3, 5 a week, and it was for a solid year. Like it was crazy, but it was fun though. I mean, like that to me, like I love in marketing and video. My style, I used to fight it, right? I used to like want everything so polished, and almost I beat it to death to where it never got out. Yeah. And then for me, like live is I love it because it's like, and now I think people, like I just said about transparency, I think people respond better to that. I think people know when you're, this is for show and whatever. But our primary thing is full service agency. We even do media buying, like for companies that really want campaigns. And then in that, so my Watts Creative Studios is the hub that I get to do special effects and kind of everything behind the scenes. Yeah. So in order to kind of separate lives a little bit, I have also started another like short film business to kind of produce, and everything under that is not by me. Yeah. It's kind of my taste and passion. Mm-hmm. But it's to kind of take advantage of the fact that, well, I have these resources, I have the cameras, I have the people, the special effects, the marketing. Why not, if I like to do like 80s style slasher movies or Bigfoot films or whatever podcast, just kind of go over there. So as you can tell, I'm multiple personalities. I have alter egos. And
I love it.
What day of the week, it just depends. That's what business I run that day.
I get to jump on social media, whether it's like on Snapchat, it's on TikTok, you name it. And I just see Woody's like post, and it's either like him saying, like, I'm on site recording. You know exactly what video I'm about to talk about. I'm on site recording, and I don't remember who it was for because I'm terrible with names. But he went to reach for an electrical line, and he was like, and then it like cuts over to somebody like freaking out, and it's just, you get that entertainment, and then you also get the masterpieces of all of his podcasts and all the stories, and it's entertaining.
Oh, thank you.
Entertainment.
Oh, honestly, and this is just being transparent with you. Like, in the beginning, I really fought that.
Yeah.
Like, I really, like, starting at the Y,
right,
which we can talk about, I was all about nonprofit artistic videos.
Yes.
Like, that was, at the time, it sounds so weird to say now, and I know I sound ancient, but, like, at the time, like, it was all about the depth of field, blurring the background, the slow, like, you were just learning properly, like, slow-mo stuff, like the frames per second cameras were nice, the lenses, and that's when gimbals were, like, I was pre-gimbal, like, I was all about, like, art, like, long and art, and then I fought it, like, I had this, always been weird and, like, have alien posters up and chasing Bigfoot and all this stuff, but I didn't want to do that artistically, but then it started kind of creeping out with my first commercial, and then it's just like, oh man, like, I gotta, and then it's, people either love it or hate it, but then I like the stuff that I produce now for clients, like, I really accept it better now, mm-hmm. and I'm more willing in a meeting to kind of voice, like, well, here, this would be a cool idea, that's what I think, and I'll talk about a campaign later on if you want to. But, like, some of the clients, like car commercials, in the beginning, I was like, I'm doing car commercials. But now, I'm like, that's mine. I do it. And I own the fact that I electrocuted the Easter Bunny, one of them, for him. Yes. So it's like, now it's...
You make it your own.
I love it.
Yeah.
I genuinely love what I do. And I'm not saying I haven't always loved it, but it's like you fight it as a creator / business owner. It's like, well, what do you want people to think of you? Right. What do you want your business to be? But, like, now it's like... I'm having fun.
Anything and everything.
Yeah, life nowadays is too short. I'm old. So.
Right. Dude, it's let's just keep going, because there's so much to unpack with Woody here, and I don't even know where I want to start. I know I have like a whole sheet here of topics, but
you got some great questions.
This is the one moment where I knew that Woody was perfect. He was a perfect human. We met at the Y because I came in under Misty. Misty Spitzer's on one of our previous podcasts, and Misty was like, hey, we're going to bring in Woody. We're going to have you two collaborate on a video. So he used to be at the Y as well, so you can, like, kind of make the connection there. I was like, cool. I was so afraid to meet him. I really was. I was afraid. I'm still afraid to meet you.
I don't know.
Before you came here, I was nervous.
It's all the bad things you hear about me. That's what it is.
He's just so good at what he does. And so he shows up, and we're talking. I'm a young videographer at this point, and I'm picking his brain, and I was like, do you know Peter McKinnon? And he's a famous YouTuber. And he was like, yes. And I was like, all right, you're cool.
Of course I know Peter.
Yeah, I'm like, you're cool. You're right. A lot of people I talk to, they don't know.
I know,
who
they
he
don't.
is.
They really don't. If you're not in that world, you're like, who?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, he's like, how many followers and
millions.
His aesthetic and his Ford pictures are like, I want a Raptor now.
Right, yeah. But he doesn't want to do anything for Ford. I'm just like, bro.
I know, right?
If you know, you know.
Peter.
Let's realign it. I mean, it's the Canadian in him, so whatever. So once I kind of found out about that, and we had a great connection going forward, I was able to see what he does and how he really blew up in Lynchburg from all the things you do. I can't even list all of them within one sentence. So let's kind of go back to the beginning. Since this podcast is about technology and business, how was the technology in alignment from the beginning of you doing marketing and being creative all the way up to today?
Oh, God. It's funny because when I picked up the video camera when I was in middle school, mm-hmm. right, at Vacation Bible School for Church.
Yeah.
So we had the shoulder one with VHS tapes.
Yep.
And the librarian asked me if I could just go around to, back then Vacation Bible School was a week, and it was a big deal, like, for like a small rural church. And so she gave me this camcorder to go film segments and all this stuff. And I remember editing between two VCR tapes, cut and stopping, and then looping the audio after the fact through a cassette tape. Oh, right. God. That's how I edit. I remember sitting in the floor, two VCRs, a TV, and a cassette deck looped in. and then you had one master copy, right? So that was my first like video creating. I would do stop animation with this camera, like stuff like that. Just kind of just started and do something. I never went to school for it. After graduated high school, found a job, and the job was very labor intensive. It was at a rock quarry. I drove a truck probably as tall as we are. This window, you could walk out and start driving it. And then in the middle of that, I was like, I got to do something else. I can't retire doing this. I'm not built for this. So I picked up the camera again.
Yeah.
And I can tell you from technology, from when I started, from then to now, I don't know that people appreciate how far it's come.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like there was pre-YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, and you say that, you say like pre-YouTube, but what is okay video? Like, you imagine sharing a video with someone else before YouTube,
You had to put
or
it in the
before
mail.
Instagram. Like, I mean, so like I was at one, like I remember at the rock quarry, I picked up the camera again and I did a video, and it was like, well, how do I get it to the other locations?
Yeah.
Then you got to get Windows Media Player, Windows Media Encoder, have the right Internet Explorer browser, have to do that.
Maker.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then like we wanted to live stream the pit, and then that in itself was horrifically planned. It just like defeated the whole network. It just sucked the bandwidth and wasn't. And so for technology, for that to now blows my mind. And we just said like when I started at the Y, like you might could get a gimbal for $8,000. Like now you can get it for
500.
Yeah.
If that. That's a really good one.
And technology has. I really love the way it has gone, because it has actually taken it out of, and I know I don't consider myself a video professional at all, because I didn't go to school. I'm not trained or anything. But like where it started and where it is now, I like it because it's taken it out of the hands of like the professionals or the people that could only afford a $50,000 camera.
Right.
And now like you want to send them a camera,
Mm-hmm.
like you can get one on Amazon for like I mean, I have a Sony. I bought last year or a year and a half ago. I bought a Sony FX3.
Yeah.
Right. So this is small. It's a small Sony. It's not too expensive, very affordable. But like I've been filming with it and I love it. Right. Well, it just got approved to be a Netflix approved camera, and so like now you can literally like I'm telling you, like anybody can go make like films
for
and
Netflix.
stuff for Netflix. Like, so for me, it's like that has morphed into marketing as well, because that means that smaller companies are able to do more.
I was about to say the smaller people can now do video productions where it's not just like a film festival.
No,
you can be on Netflix. You can surpass the film festival to get noticed.
You can, and back when I started film, and I'm not saying film prices aren't justifiably expensive, because a quality production is always nice.
Yeah.
But it was very, very rare for a business to get a super quality video, because you were talking 11, 20, 40,000 bucks, and that's no joke.
Yeah.
So, and that's one reason at the Y I had to pick the camera back up, because we didn't have the budget for that.
Right.
You're working for a nonprofit. They want $30,000 to build you a website, and then this company wants $11,000 for a talking head video for your summer camps.
Yeah.
I mean, that's $50,000.
Let me grab my iPhone.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you pick up a camera, and so I love that. I love that now, from the creator part and from a business part, because I'm a small business owner, that it is completely doable for somebody to get on TikTok and get 1 billion views if it hits, because they can make content now.
It's the vertical change.
Yes.
And during 2020 is when that horizontal to vertical started happening because of TikTok. I love TikTok. I've had 2 videos that went viral on TikTok. Very happy with that. But as a creator, it's something else you got to do.
It is. It adds to the plate. And as a business that does marketing, right?
Yeah.
It also, like before this last 2 years, like I would do one video and give it to the client, and they were happy. It was 16 by 9, like it was beautiful. Now it's like, oh, by the way, can we have a vertical, a square, and so for me, marketing wise, I love it, because it you get to kind of brand and have the aesthetic. But as a creator, it's like, good God, now I have to do.
You have like 4 different files.
Yeah.
One for Instagram, one for
the
TikTok.
graphics don't fit on this and
Yep.
this and this. But mentally, I'm still in the widescreen aspect ratio. So vertical, I love the look of it. But to me, like it's bittersweet because like now everybody has a phone and can do content.
Right.
Not everybody should, but everybody can.
True.
You know.
True.
But for the most part, you got to like you saw people during the pandemic. They picked up. I mean, some people have careers over the last 2 years now because of it.
On TikTok.
On TikTok. So, I mean, if that doesn't tell you.
I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to get my followers up so TikTok can pay for my wedding. That is my ultimate goal. So if you're watching this or listening, just, help
her out.
Go ahead and follow me.
Go ahead, sponsor. Do something.
Sherry Marie Productions.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt. Now let's talk about how you help small businesses. You touched a little bit on that. I want you to expand a little bit more. So what are you seeing that small businesses are definitely wanting more of, and how do you help them with that?
Well, that's funny because when I started doing commercials, it was several small businesses that you would make the video and then they wouldn't know what to do with it. Right. Like they were told they need a commercial.
Yeah.
They were told by the TV station or whatever, oh, we need a video to tell people. But then, all right, well, how do we get it on our website? And that is all automatically to me. I have I want to help. Mm-hmm. So that's when I just started helping clients.
Right.
Like anywhere from like, okay, we'll get it on your website. All right, well, the video, is it going on Facebook? Is it going on TV because it's a different style?
Yep.
Like you don't want to put a TV commercial on TikTok. Don't do that. I know one company that does, and they get hammered every time.
Oh, really?
You know you are. Don't do that. You need to make a special commercial. I'm looking at you. Make a special commercial, and I have commented, and I've even offered. I will make you a vertical commercial. Stop it. So, like helping small businesses, it's everything. Honestly, it's like because again, like I think in the business world, I know how I get so wrapped up in payroll and paying the bills and keeping clients happy, catching up with clients, making sure I'm doing everything for clients that I promised I'm doing. That I know how stressful it is to be. I can't imagine having a business that has nothing to do with marketing. You're not a social media person. You're not a camera person, but then you're being told, well, you got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. So, like, I mean, honestly, it's all over the board, and that's why we do full service stuff now. We do. I mean, we do some graphic design, but honestly, that's kind of it's in the past now. Like, print to me, I've never been a fan of paying a lot for print, but like we don't do a lot of print now, and I did that for a long time. A lot of it now is specifically Instagram videos, like specifically the reels, the vertical, square, and just coming up with catchy stuff. And like honestly, before it used to be a 5-minute video timeline, but now it's like, okay, well, we need a 30-second, a 15-second,
and
maybe
we want to say all of this.
Yeah, maybe 45 if that's not too long. And back in my day, I was like, wait a minute, like. So I think businesses, I always try to coach them too. Like you touched on this earlier. You're going to be told to do a lot.
Yeah. If you
can't maintain that, then be careful starting it. Yeah. Because that does give the impression that you don't care or that when that's not your intention. So for me, I really try to help the business navigate what their audience is, what they're trying to do, what the message is they're trying to get out, because they may not be a good fit for TikTok, or they may be a perfect fit. I don't know, so it's like and you know this from marketing and technology, that each social media platform has its own demographic,
own personality,
completely separate.
Yep.
So your messaging, you can be broad and hope to hit, but it really helps if you can target it. Yeah. And I think some businesses, they just don't have the budgets to do all
or
this.
Or the bandwidth. Because from my perspective, I'm the marketing director here at CTS. Yeah. So when I have to make a post and schedule post out, a lot of times I'm just copying the same thing and putting it all over because it's done. I checked that box. But I go to bed at night and I'm like, that Instagram post needs to be different. That TikTok post doesn't need to be saying that. And I will go through the next day and I will adjust, because as more targeted information as you can provide, the better results you will get. And that's going back to all the different personalities that you have on social media. Holy moly, like you can really push the limits. Think about TikTok, like on LinkedIn, you can push the limits and you can get a little personal, but you don't post your gym selfies on LinkedIn unless it's a really good backstory that has to do with your career.
Yes.
And even the gym selfie can't be shirtless.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that it's targeted. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
If you look at Facebook now versus a couple years ago, Facebook used to be geared towards college age, right out of college, trying to keep up with everybody. In fact, you had to have a college email address to even set up an account. Now, I think there are more grandparents and parents on it. There are kids now, and I say kids because I'm 41. There are kids that are half my age. They're not even on Facebook anymore.
They get on it once a week.
They don't do Facebook. Yeah. They might have an account.
Right.
And Instagram. Instagram used to be like, and now I see there's an audience that posts to that less and less. Yeah. And they go somewhere else.
It's oversaturated.
It is. Yeah. So it's like you've got to be, you've got to kind of pick and choose your messaging. And for me, this is actually top secret information right.
All right, this is a number one tip from Woody.
So for one example, for my personalities, one of the low key reasons I do that is so that I can experiment. Yeah. So that I can experiment and see what works and what doesn't for clients, and it's not on their dime. So like, for example, I've done actual, and it falls under marketing. I've done books for clients. They wanted to write a book, a children's book, get it published, whatever. I didn't know how to do it, so I did it on my own. So I have a reason to do it, so I could experiment, so that it wasn't like, oh yeah, we can do that, and then
you're doing all the research behind the scenes, trying to figure it out.
I don't like doing that. I like knowing what I'm doing. So and then one part of that is for me creatively is to have this business personality and this outlet, but the other side is to have this fun little stuff where you can play. Like you can play with designs, with T-shirts, merch, also with videos, podcasts. Like, see, does this work in this field? So, like, I don't think as a creator, I think you've got to kind of experiment. And people in marketing, like, you've got to. Yeah. I don't think you can be back in the day like it used to be, where you're marketing and you're like, we've got this campaign, we're doing not like you've got to be fluid now. Yeah. You really can't. Like, you really can't be like it was.
Yeah. Coming into CTS, I was like, all right, here's the campaign. Like, I was going to do like the old school way, because I was like, well, if it's old school, then it should still work. Yeah. No, I think I kept that campaign going for like 2 months, and I said, nope. Yep. Coming in the next day, and I scrapped it, and I was very fluid, and we are still very fluid with our marketing. And I feel as though our success and our personal reach is so successful because we can move.
You adapt. You evolve with your audience. Yeah. And you see what works. Because your same video, like you have a couple videos on TikTok, you do those same things, like maybe if you did it a day or two later, would it have? Or if you did it a day or two earlier, would it have? Like, I mean, so like you really got to kind of see this stuff, and it's not just to throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. But I mean, some of it is, some of it's luck, Right. But the other part of it is like how like it caught when it caught. Yeah. And it may be lightning in a bottle. Yeah. But then again, but you're always kind of striving to test it. Like, oh, maybe this part worked, and it kind of helps you refine your message for your clients too. So it helps. It helps in marketing as far as technology and everything goes. If you are a creator at heart, to really experiment. It can be on the side, it can be on other stuff, but it really does not hurt. Then that way you can kind of take what you learn and morph it into, because like your Central Technology Solutions, right? Like in the past, how many IT places really sought to have a really quality social media or marketing presence? None, and it still applies to this day. Yeah. So it's like, so that shows you the evolution of technology and marketing, and the fact that an IT place, technology place, now has a presence and has a person doing that, has a person doing a podcast in their office, has a studio here. So like, I mean, that ought to show you, that should ought to show everybody like how far this has come. Yeah. Because back in the day, IT people would be like the quiet hero. Like you would never see him, and then all of a sudden, I remember at the Y, we'd have this guy Steve, that we would see. Also, he'd come in, we were like, "Oh, thank God! Yes! Oh, Steve's here. Okay, Steve, this computer, this is the email," and then you never like. But now it's like you've got to stay out there. Oh yeah. No, I mean that's spot on, and I think also when it comes from a marketing perspective, when you bring on an agency. And let's say you have like somebody marketing in-house, and let's say you're listening or watching this and you're like, are they doing all the things?
be nice to them. First off, there's a lot.
It's a lot.
Second, bringing somebody along, whether it's an intern, whether it's an agency like Watts Studios, that will just make it so much better.
Yeah.
But there is going to be a cost to it.
Yeah.
And that's something else that we talk about when it comes to the technology and business part. It's a love-hate relationship, but welcome to 2022.
Yep.
That is what it is.
You got to pay. And I run into cases where places that can afford an in-house marketing solution, I think it's, coming from an agency, that sounds weird. I think it's valuable because then you are part of the team. You know the messaging, you know the culture.
Right.
And then that goes through to your marketing.
Right.
For me, I only take on a marketing client that I can basically be on a retainer for.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'll do one-off commercials, but usually, honestly, all my commercial people I've known for 5 or 6 years.
Right. And you have to keep that relationship,
Yeah.
so it's still them.
Exactly.
And the content that you put out, it looks like them. It's not just Watts Creative Studio.
Nope.
It's who your people are, who your client is.
Yep. And for me, for a marketing, like an agency of the people that we are for, that it's very important. But I go to staff meetings.
Yeah.
I have to know the people. I have to know the culture, the vibe, because again, you've got we do marketing for an agricultural farm equipment business, right? Like, how different is that demographic than, that's a very, that is old school. Like, how many people farm anymore? And you're targeting, so I mean.
They probably don't use that much
They don't
technology
use,
either.
Good luck getting them on Facebook. So, that's very important to me in getting the client's message out.
Yeah.
Is to get to know the client, attend meetings, know the culture, the vibe. Everything is so important. So that's why it is, like, if a place can afford a marketing person, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's the best way, because then that way you know what they're doing, you know that.
Yeah.
But if you can't, then an agency is, make sure the agency is invested.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not just, out in another state, doing a Zoom every 6 months. Really.
Yeah.
I've had cases where people call me and they're like, well, we haven't had a meeting, and man, with as much as things change, God, Facebook alone, the algorithm changes every other week, it seems. So, crazy.
Facebook is starting to.
If I didn't have to use Facebook, I would.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
But its algorithm. Let me just back up. I got this from Gary Vaynerchuk. I love Gary. If you know Mark.
Gary V. Who's that?
What? What? I was like,
I'm surprised you wear a Gary V t-shirt, because I know you love.
You do. I do have one.
He's awesome though. He's awesome.
It's not with his face. I do want one with his face on it. And I'm trying to get into NFT, so just bear with me.
Okay.
But it's at, what is it? Was it kindness is free or whatever? And if you know Gary, that's what he talks about. So, anyways, it's not Gary V, merch, but now you got me thinking about his merch. I gotta get some. All right. So I was listening to one of Gary V's podcasts, and he disclosed how his Gary Media or Vayner Media has changed how they're viewing their social media platforms. Mm-hmm. And he ranks the top 5. He had the audacity to say, and I believe it, I'm seeing it now, Facebook is number 1, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram.
Man, I'm surprised. LinkedIn. Way to go, LinkedIn. Wow.
Right? Well, recently that was at the top for them.
No.
They talked about that because of the reach. But talking about the connection and the reach, I heard that and I said, no.
Don't do that. Gary, you stop it. You stop talking right now, Gary.
I started to tear up because I'm like, no, I have to stay on Instagram, stay on Facebook. But it makes sense because everybody's going to Instagram, leaving Facebook. And Facebook's like, wait, come back. We'll give you the old algorithm.
Yeah.
So now everybody's on Instagram. And I'm kind of over Instagram, to be honest. I have it just to have it. But I'm like, oh, my gosh. All right, YouTube. You and TikTok are my favorite two right now.
And for me, I will be honest, the primary place, especially around here, Lynchburg is still as awesome as it is. It's still, I would say, probably 2 to 3 years behind.
I'd say 5.
5 years, 8 years behind.
Yeah.
Trends that you see in other areas. And so for me right now, Facebook and streaming television are the two things that my clients spend the most money on for us. And the other ones are
And even streaming is interesting.
I have clients that they no longer do traditional television.
Yeah.
They only do streaming, and it's a couple of reasons. Like one, it's your reach and how you can actually isolate zip codes and geofencing and everything. But the second part is that it's the cost. The cost for traditional media is, it's crazy.
Yeah.
In streaming, you can get like 300,000 spots for and Facebook, same thing. You get like put $25 on it, you've got 11,000 views.
Right.
So
yeah.
I mean but again, that goes back to how nice from a marketing standpoint. It's a love-hate, bittersweet, that you can have the reach for $20. Like
on
I mean
Facebook,
so it's important. That's why it's important too for a business. They have to like talk to somebody. Like even if you can't hire somebody, like they need to have a conversation or something so that they are not just like.
And be okay to go on platforms that your audience may not be on, and just to see the trends.
Yeah. Yep.
Just to see, because then once you see it and it's trending, you can be the first one in Lynchburg to do it.
Exactly.
And we're giving you guys all of our tips right now.
That's it. That's free consulting right there.
So let's kind of dive into some tips.
Okay.
What would you give? Or let's back up. If I'm a small business, and Lynchburg is my market, let's just kind of keep it broad. What's the first few tips rather, that you would give a small business in Lynchburg?
I would take, first thing I look at is their social media presence.
Yeah.
And see like do they have a Facebook page? Some of them don't. What does their website look like? Does their website look like it was in the 90s and the 2000s?
90s,
while that's charming, that it's off-putting.
It's nostalgic.
It's for a business though, that's one of the first things that people go to, or also, which is surprising to me, but I mean I get it, is your Google business page now. Like that, I've had more requests for that in the last year than ever before.
Wow.
So, I mean, those things are so important. Those three are the top for me.
Yeah.
Where someone, like on Google, I now get Google messages. I never got that before.
Yeah.
And so it's new to me. But I look at those three and see how they're doing. See if they have like a good, because you don't want to come in and add a lot of polish if it's misleading, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to kind of take a look at it. And does it resemble them, or do they kind of need some help in the graphics and this and that? And I did one specifically for the fire and rescue. Like, I mean, they do a lot.
Yeah.
The last thing they need to be worried about is social media. Honestly,
Right.
they got to worry about saving people. But it doesn't hurt to have like a cohesive brand, so that if someone wants to be a volunteer firefighter, if somebody wants to do this, you've kind of got a good look across all platforms. So
It's
I look
welcoming,
at Facebook, website, and make sure they have a Google profile now.
Yeah.
And even if they've been established for a while, start asking for reviews, because that's important.
Shout out
But
to
those
SEO.
are the top three that when I go in, this is the first I look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a valid point.
And this comes from a video guy. I don't even suggest a video up front. I used to, but now it's like, whoa. We might not. Let's wait on the video.
Well, that's when you have to really get their personalities.
Yes.
So then you're like, you're gonna become video.
Yeah, you're gonna be. You've been doing the videos, but we're gonna. Who's that person?
No, I get that. So that's good advice. So if you are a small business owner in Lynchburg, in a nutshell, make sure your website isn't from the 90s. Really critique it. Don't just sit there and say, no, make sure it looks good. Google reviews, which I thought that was really interesting. Well, Google business, which I thought was really interesting, because that has been trending. And I think it's because of the privacy laws that have been in place and lockdown, so marketers can't do anything anymore. And SEO, because everybody's searching for something.
Well, how many times have you gone, and this may be for me, this may be my demographic, right? But even the website, like I'll go to Google first, search the bit, like for example, at our house, I wanted the hedges trimmed and trees. They're too tall, I didn't have a ladder tall enough. I went to Google, searched hedge trimming Lynchburg. I didn't even go to people's websites. I just went to the listings.
Yeah.
I looked at the reviews.
Yeah.
I made sure they didn't have 1-star reviews.
Right.
And then I picked 3.
Yeah.
And I called them. I didn't even visit their website.
Right.
And the person that was able to get to me the quickest got my business.
That right there is probably the most crucial, or no, that is when you get a customer.
Yeah.
Is if you can actually have somebody on the other end pick up and say, hi, I'm so-and-so, how can I help you?
We'll be out there tomorrow. Not a month and a half.
Right.
Like, I get it.
Right.
But
people get busy.
Yep.
But that we've noticed that too
Yep.
in the industry, where the first person who picks up is the one who gets the business, and that's fair. Okay, so let's say they have they have the basics.
Yes.
Now what? What do you typically go after? What's the next tip that you give them?
What is their messaging? Like, what do they want to get out? Because a lot of people will hear, and you'll get this. To be on the marketing side, we can get kind of blinded by this after so long. But like the person, like, all right, what is the purpose behind it? Like, what do you want out of it?
Yeah.
Like, do you want people to know about your brand? Are you a nonprofit? Do you want them to know about your mission? Or is it your fundraising season? Do you have to, is this your kick to kind of get a campaign going? Or is it like a car dealer? Are you having specific sales? Or what, so like you really have to get to the reason behind what they want to do. Like some people, for the most part, the majority of it is, we just want to be out there more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we just want more leads.
We just want more leads.
Yeah.
Well, and then that's branding.
Yeah.
Like that's where then we probably should, we've looked at this, you've got all this. Then maybe let's do a couple of videos explaining what you do. But even that, you can't put it all in one and people won't watch it. Like you've got to kind of space it out. Like in some messaging on social media, explaining what you do. And a big thing that I used to be against, but I get it now, like maybe it's just me getting old, is customer reviews. Like customer reviews for me now, that is almost I feel silly going to so many places, all right, give me your top 5 customers that you've had that we can get testimonials from, because again, like this week I was on Google searching for hedge trimmers, and I am in marketing, and that's literally, I was like, reviews. Yeah. That's the one. Like, right. I mean, so that's how important it is.
It is. That was when I first came on to CTS. I said, okay, I don't care about the technology yet. Yeah. I care about who you love and who loves you and who would leave a review. Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. Went out to them and said, hey, we're going to do a testimonial video, and give them the opportunity to spotlight their industry as well. Exactly. But it was just that instantly just took the brand awareness to the next level. Yeah. And it's something so simple. So if you were a B2B like us, you just talk to other industries, talk to other business owners. Yeah. And if you're a B2C, you get to talk to Joe Schmo down the street, whether he's going to tell you like it is, or it's going to be Sally from the supermarket and she'll tell you whatever else. So, and it's just, and they don't have to be long. It doesn't have to be the 3 to 5 minute videos.
It's got to be quick now.
It can be the 1 minute. Unless you want to make it entertaining and put, Bigfoot in it or something.
Which, funny enough, we can get to this later. That was my love for Bigfoot coming in commercials came from a client. Like, they let me do something.
I think I remembered this. Well, let's just talk about it now.
All right, so, like, when I first started, I was doing commercial. I was at the Y, and I started doing our videos, like our nonprofit camp videos, summer camp and everything else. And then we had New Year's resolutions coming up, and we needed a campaign. And I did the commercial, the local cable station. I say local, but the account executive here liked the commercial. Said, hey, can you take on some clients on the side? And then that was it. After that, I just started doing that. Yeah. So one of the first car dealers that I had is a local car dealer here in town who has 4 or 5 dealerships. And they had just bought airspace media time in front of at Regal Cinemas, where in this area the commercial would play in front of every movie, every showtime, and in the lobby. Huh. So it was getting a ton of exposure. It was great, right? Yeah. And you got people in the seats eating popcorn, waiting for the movie, and they see the commercial.
I think I know which one this is. I think I saw it.
So his words to me, and I love this, and I've always tried to remember to do this. He was like, I want something sticky. I was like, what? He was like, I want it to stick with them after the movie. I don't want a regular financing commercial. I don't want a regular whatever. I want them to be like, what am I watching? All right, I need and that came from the general manager who is amazing and sells a ton of cars. I was like, okay. So then that's when we started putting Bigfoot, UFOs, and whatever in the commercial, and on a budget. There's local and then there's local budget. And I'm local budget. So we did that, and honestly, I can tell you, I got more response from those commercials than anything else I've done, because people you can think it's stupid. Right. You can think Bigfoot's stupid. That's fine. Yeah. You turned your head and you looked at it.
Yeah.
And you remembered it after the movie.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a average like, oh, we're having a summer sale. That's great.
Yeah.
and I did a campaign before here. We're doing a campaign now with the Bedford Economic Development Office, and they have a new app to help advertise local businesses like scavenger hunt, stuff like that. And she wanted a billboard, and I was like, I got an idea for one. Listen, I got this suit. I know a guy. I know him personally. I know Bigfoot personally. Can we put him in it? Because it would kind of fit Bedford's rural, and I love Bedford. We do a majority of our business in Bedford. We have a studio there. But I was like, it would kind of fit. And I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
I'm over your average advertising.
Thank you.
Where it's just like handshakes and I'm just kind of done for a while.
I agree.
And so it was and you've got a billboard going up, you've got cards, you've got some videos we're doing. I want people when they're driving 65 miles an hour thinking about how much gas is and how, politics makes them upset. When they look up, they do a double take at the billboard.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
And you kind of wipe their mind of anything that's current, and you just have that one moment with them. And that's what marketing is. You're supposed to build that one just little half of a second of a moment.
Just
with the viewer or the audience or whoever. And just get their mind off of it, because that's what's going to stop them in the tracks. And it's that conscious touch. How many touches do you have to have before you convert? It's like
touchy.
It was 7 touches of before you can convert a client, and then it was 21, and now it's probably double or triple. But it's so
106.
annoying. Probably.
Yeah. And for me, she literally was like, yes, let's do it. And then I was game on, right? And then I was out on the highway today, waving to people in the Bigfoot costume, because to me, it's all about making the connection and just stopping people for a second. Because in today's world, we all know, no matter what, your mind's in 1,000 different places, and for it to just take a split second, and also I do a very a car dealer that's in the area that a lot of people mute when he comes on television, right?
Yeah. It's
a very loud commercial. I do those. I love doing them, by the way. I love doing them. For him, I guarantee you may hate his commercial. And you can get on Facebook and say, I'll never shop there. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I do not believe that.
Right.
I believe that you saw that commercial, you remember his name, you're fussing about it. You thought enough to go to Facebook immediately after you saw the commercial and fuss about it. However, I know for a fact, if he was running the right special on the right car that you wanted, you would still go up there and ask for the guy in the commercial.
And
so I don't believe that at all.
Before he signs that paper, he will say, I used to put your commercial on mute. They're going to say that.
Yeah.
So that's part of marketing.
It grabs your attention. And again, I used to fight this all the time. I used to want to tell stories, and they all have their place.
Yeah.
And there are places out there that do a great job about it. But I see that you're grabbing for everybody's attention, and you have got to be noticed. Whether your story is emotional, or you're just trying to get ahead of the crowd. Right. And then sometimes that's crazy. That's going crazy. That's put Bigfoot on a billboard so people will to look or yelling in the commercial.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Don't tell me this.
You're a can.
Because you're also the one who told me to get you didn't tell me to get the pocket. You convinced me to get the pocket, and I got the pocket the next day. And I love that thing.
Go get the FX3. No,
I can't do that. I can't do. What did I get recently? I thought about you. Oh, I did get a little GoPro. And it was like a 7,
The quality, honestly, I'm telling you, the quality is unbelievable. I wish, some part of me is when I'm out and I'm working, I wish that the phone, when I did the fireworks for Bedford live stream, and
dope, by the way.
But I swear the iPhone adjusts better to exposure and stuff, and I love it's 42 megapixels, 4K. Well, that's beautiful, dynamic range. When it's go,
yeah,
when
it's go time, it's go time.
It's cinematic mode on the camera on the iPhone now. It's I could literally take it out at night, and it's man, this is gorgeous. This is awesome.
And you don't have to do any work after. If you do, it's just very little.
No, it's my $5,000 camera doesn't even. I have to sit here and play with it for half an hour.
That's how you know. Really, at the end of the day, we're just addicts. Marketers are addicts to 1, shiny things, 2, marketing. Marketing people to us, we get marketed to. I fall for things all the time. 3, gadgets, and 4, hits. I'm talking likes, and I know they say you don't need to worry about likes. I'm sorry, but we do.
I do.
That's the intention.
I get my feelings hurt when people don't like my stuff.
Yeah, because
it's fine. It's fine.
Like somebody took half of a second to click on something because they watched it a couple of times and they reacted to it. Don't tell me not think about likes. I think about likes all the time.
I just want a reason to justify when I buy stuff. When my wife goes on the doorstep and I've got like 15 boxes out there, I've got to say like, listen, this is for this commercial and this lens is for this.
So are you the Amazon box in the house?
Oh God, Is it
mutual?
There's like I'm waiting for the delivery notification. Like I'm totally hijacking your order too. And I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I've got so I'm doing a project for the Academy this October, right? And I'm going retro and doing the Anaglyph 3D red blue glasses.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So in order to do that, you've technically got to have like you can do 2 cameras, but you got to sync it up and you got to do all this.
Right.
So you got to have like 2 lenses that film at 2 different focal lengths and 2 different slightly so each eyes has it, and then you got to layer it and do the color whatever. In order to do that, I had to buy a camcorder that was made in 2011. They don't even make it anymore. I found it in Japan. So it's coming today. It's got the 2 lenses, and it's so for a technology. So that's funny though, right?
Yeah.
So like for me, like I want to do this because I love old 80s horror movies, 3D glasses, all that stuff. So I actually had to go back to make it easier on myself and to get the genuine like I want it done in that way. I don't want to do it like in post or do it like this. I want it like gritty, like know. So that should be coming.
I'm excited for you because I know I'm going to see a post about it later.
You will.
So what are some other tips that you would give a small business in Lynchburg and kind of give them a little bit of insight in how to pivot their marketing?
All right, one thing, and I don't even know, you may argue that this is not in marketing, right? But you really do have to, like, if you're going to get the leads, right, you've got to have a good way, like we said, to respond to them. Because all the marketing in the world, I can get them in the door, right?
Yeah.
But if they get to the door and it's locked,
or no one's there,
no one's picking up, that is more detrimental to you than not marketing.
I agree.
So I have done pushes for businesses that just were not ready. And and that's not me having a magic touch. This is just advertising in general. You just advertise for them, and then all of a sudden they don't have the manpower to answer the phones or this, So I think it's important in the marketing, you don't have to like jump the building at first. Like let's ease into it. Make sure you've got the infrastructure. Make sure that you have the response time, the communication, and then that way when you do get that customer, they have a good experience because Lynchburg, like we said, like in Bedford, I do a lot in Bedford. That is probably 90% word of mouth. Like you have one bad review, so and so knows somebody, and they're going to hear about it. So marketing is extremely important because you're getting them in the door. Once you get them in the door, like really, really take the time because like it's. Like we said, it's love-hate. Like, I mean, what do you think they're going to post about? They're not going to post about the good experience. Right. You're going to have to ask them about that. What they're going to post about is how I can't get a hold of anybody, or they didn't show up on time. So I think the third advice that I when I go in is just to make sure that okay, so we're going to start, especially for businesses that have not had a lot of advertising before. Like, okay, we're ready. Like, do we want like maybe a chat feature on the website to kind of slow down the phone calls? Do you want a menu tree to kind of help do this? Yeah. And that's where the agency, the consulting part comes in. It's like, all right, where do we go from here? Let's just make sure because I want this because once you get it going, it can keep going. It can become a machine.
Right.
But it also can stop really quick.
Yeah.
And then you've wasted a lot of money.
Right. So. Right. Okay, so those are the 3 tips. Now, one more tip.
Yeah.
What do you recommend for somebody or a business, rather, to make the content? And, like, what type of content? Let's say they just want to get their feet wet. They just want to kind of see what it feels like. What's some content ideas that you recommend? And
I think if you're on a budget, now is the easy time.
It is.
Really.
It really
like,
is.
I mean, there are TikTok accounts where I know nothing about roofing. I'm not a roofer. I have a good roof. But by God,
please tell me you follow a roofer.
By God, I follow 5 roofers, and I will watch them rip a whole thing of shingles off a roof. I'll watch them do this. So, like, really, if you were in a field now where, like, say it's you, right? And you're out there and you're like, what do I do? Pick up the camera, start an account, and just maybe do your process.
Yeah.
If you're doing, you may not have to contact a marketing agency to help you with some grand plan. Like, you may just have a really cool job and you not know it. Like, there's this guy that does home inspections, right? And he goes around town and he's up in the attic and posting these crazy pictures, and he's consistent.
Yeah.
Like, he's consistent about it. And I think that should have been tip 3. Be consistent about it.
This is tip 4 now.
It's tip 4. like really, like, if you're like, where do I start? Whatever. Just listen, just pick up a camera, pick up your phone, start an account, and just be consistent. Like, do it, try to do it every day or every other day, and just get on a pattern. And you'll see what works. You'll see kind of the response. But really, like, you don't have to get hung up on it.
No.
Just do it.
Yeah. And you're going to overthink, and that's okay. You're going to be like, oh, this sucks. Or
what time should I post? What if you're in the beginning, that's the hard part.
It
is getting over the fact. But there are other places that need a more refined touch, but honestly, for the average business right now, if you don't have a presence, it's never been easier. You can go get an iPhone 13 with cinematic mode. It looks beautiful. So
chilling with
that consistent.
I'm chilling with the XR. I'm so serious. I thought I was fancy 2 years ago with it.
For a while, I hung on to the 6. I had the 6.
My mom still has the 6.
Yeah. But then the 13 came out, and it had the 13 Pro, and it has the wide angle feature.
Oh, I know. Game changer.
For a photographer, where I didn't have to whip out the
24 to 70.
I was like, gotcha. All right. And that tells you how much content has evolved.
Yeah.
Like, back in the day, you would never dream. Like, and this is another short story I'm hijacking. So when I did one of my first car commercials, this is before I really started loving doing them. I showed up at the dealership with a small DSLR, right? And like a shotgun mic and a little thing. And they were so used to the broadcast people coming in with all the equipment. And they were not impressed. And the commercial looked good, but like, it was all about the perception, right?
Yeah.
So then I bought a C100 Mark II, which is a big camera, big lens, just to really kind of impress. And then that got me a lot of business a couple of years ago.
Right.
But now technically I could film it on my iPhone.
Yeah.
I don't because I like going in my cinema camera. That's just me. But honestly, I'm telling you, if you are a business owner who can't afford it, like, coming from a video person, you're good.
iPhone.
Do it.
No,
I
agree. So, making content for a small business, and as a small business, it's so much easier. Yeah. So there are your top 4 tips. We have make sure that you're front-facing self, from your website to Google to, what was the other part?
Website, Google, Facebook. Facebook page.
Make sure that that's fair.
Make sure it's good, looks good.
There.
Yeah. And void of politics, and just make sure it's a page. Yeah. Make sure your business has a page for your services and personality.
It's not hard. You can do it.
You can do it. It's good. I'm telling you. Save the other stuff for your personal Twitter account.
True. Yeah. The other one was the reviews, your customer review. No, your messaging.
Your messaging. Yep. Your messaging.
Then your customer reviews.
Yes.
And then the last one was content creation, and don't overthink it. Show what you do outside of work. Why did you get started? A process. I mean, you have to think. This is my perspective of marketing for IT. I have to understand that somebody's not going to wake up one day saying, I'm going to get a new IT company, or I'm going to hire for IT. No, if you don't even remember to change your password, how are you going to remember to actually hire somebody for IT? Yeah. So give yourself some grace, but get creative. Yes. So that's why, we're bringing in content pieces like the podcast to talk to local businesses and say, hey, let's talk about technology outside of coding. And that's okay. Yeah. That do anything that Lynchburg market will appreciate. Yes. And I think at the end of the day, Lynchburg market is very interesting.
Oh, for me, even we have a podcasting studio,
right,
where once a week we have 7 shows now. They're all local. They're local businesses. One is an HVAC, Brown's Heating and Air. He comes in and he talks about, he gives you tips on cleaning, whatever. But you get to know his personality. Mm-hmm. And then that makes you want to do business with him. Right. You learn how much he gives back to the community. You learn how much he cares about his employees. And it's just like, it's like this podcast here. Like you get a sneak peek at the people that are running it. It's not just this huge corporation that just shows up one day. No, these are real people that care.
And they live in Lynchburg.
They live in Lynchburg. They care enough to talk to you about stuff. And so like I really feel like that even TikTok and all this other stuff that we're talking about, it really is just an extension of getting to know and making you take a second so that it is not this blind, obey messaging out there. It is like, okay, well, I like that person. They're genuine. They seem to care. They're not just putting on a show.
They don't just put on a Bigfoot costume. No.
They just don't put on a Bigfoot costume. That's my alter ego. That's the other guy. That's the other podcast.
So, I mean, in a nutshell, I think that's a lot of great advice.
Oh, good. Just wear the Bigfoot costume in the fall and winter. If you're going to use Bigfoot.
Not when it's 80 plus degrees and humidity.
No, just enjoy it too, because I guarantee you the world has changed in the last few years for marketing and technology. And the world has changed to the good for the smaller business and the average people that that we are. And I think that you may not think your job is interesting or that exciting or whatever, but I guarantee you, if it's genuine, if you're genuine, that people will connect. And like I said, I'm scared of heights. Yeah. And I follow roofers like crazy because I think it's fascinating when they could take the whole side off or they find a leak or whatever. Like, I mean, that's just, I'm telling you, like in HVAC, like Brandon, like you're like, oh, heating and air. You only really call them when it's broke and it's too hot or it's too cold. Yeah. But like you get to know him and know that he's like giving away a system to a family in need. He donates to St. Jude's and he does this for his family. And all of a sudden you're like, you have this connection with him. And you're like, I think I am a call. He seems genuine. I'm a call him.
If an IT company can make content, you can make content.
Yeah, there you go. And
I fully believe that.
I'm telling you, it's important.
Yeah.
It's important.
All right, we're going to do one more thing. It's called a little flash round, so look away because I got to pull up my questions. All right. And we got 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds.
Okay.
And you got to answer like whatever comes to mind, whatever
quick,
is your interest.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. All right. Let me get my.
All right. Oh gosh, hang on. Let me get my timer.
30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds. I'm just going to
for
ask
each question,
you a question
or total.
Oh, total. I'm going to hit you. It's like a speed round.
All right. I'm
going to hit you with all the things. Where's the things on my phone? Okay. All right, 30 seconds. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Favorite ice cream?
Oh God. You've already got Rocky Road.
Favorite number?
17.
Why can't we tickle ourselves?
I'm not ticklish.
Is sourdough or wheat better?
Sourdough.
Are lifeguards always attractive?
No. Well, listen, everybody's attractive. Like, everybody in life, I'll say that. That's the same answer.
Last one, favorite type of tea?
Favorite type of tea?
Yeah.
Earl Grey.
Yeah. And that's it.
And I think you know why. I'm a nerd.
Wait, is it because...
Oh, come on. What'd you think?
I thought because Peter drinks it. I think I've heard him say he drinks that.
He drinks it. Well,
he drinks coffee. Always coffee.
With his pirate ring.
Yes, but I'm
That's
pretty sure...
Peter.
He
wears too many rings. Peter.
But he also made it, has his own brand.
He looks great.
He looks fantastic. He looks great. Just do something with Ford.
I love Earl Grey because Captain Picard, that was his beverage of choice, and he is a hero of mine.
I just feel like Earl Grey tea is the only tea that actually gives you energy.
It's the only tea that really doesn't, taste nasty to me.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. It's got, a good generic, okay, this is
cheap.
This is doable. This is doable. I can sip on this and look sophisticated when I'm not wearing a Bigfoot costume and being weird.
With your sweater vest on.
It's so odd seeing me in, a pole, whatever, because it's, in this podcast, behind the scenes, she's very organized, which is wonderful. And even in the invite, everything about, I was like, man, this is, legit. This is great.
Pause. All right, I'm going to pause you right there because you're my guinea pig with that. You're the first person.
I was like...
to get the process email.
Man, I'm sweating it on the way over here.
I was sweating it. That's why you were the first one to get it.
God.
I was I'm sure he's got his own process.
And it was it's going to be videoed, and I'm in the car, and I'm like, oh, crap. I don't know if I own. If you see me anything other than this, it's probably because I'm going to a funeral. So, so it's just.
Well, either funeral or a Bigfoot or in the woods
or Bigfoot festival
or what else? So this is going to be just like off script. So now I'm really curious and I want to see if I can add this into the podcast too.
Yeah.
What made you want to get into the paranormal stuff?
Man, this whole other podcast.
And we can just high level it.
No, yeah. When I was 14, I saw a UFO. Yeah.
No, you did not.
I did. I swear I did.
In Lynchburg?
Amherst. And you could call up my best friend at the time. Well, we haven't talked. He's not my best friend, but like we were in his backyard and we were playing around. Whatever. This before cell phones. This before any of that. Like we were just playing basketball in his backyard, right? And we look up and we see a UFO. We see 6 lights horizontal. Zip, 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 zip. Like I'm not lying. Like I'm being honest. Like And so for me, ever since then, like it was just the unexplained, right? And I mean, I'm sure like a lot of the stuff can be explained.
Yeah.
That's fine. But like for me, it was always a battle because like I'm a Christian. So like a lot of the stuff that you like growing up, you're like, oh, I can't believe this. I can't believe.
Yeah.
But for me, I started to approach it differently. I started to approach it like, well, it's nothing wrong with that. Asking questions.
Right.
And I like exploring.
Yeah.
And like if I prove that something is not real, then great.
Yeah.
But like with the thing with Bigfoot, like, I used to be a really big skeptic until we went in the woods and we found a footprint.
Yeah.
And like explain the footprint that I
Right.
saw with my own eyes and I heard the wood knocks. And like, so everything that because I've been on the other side of it, I've been on watching the TV shows and like they're full of it. That's not
That's
real.
editing.
That's editing. It's
Yeah.
TV trick.
Right.
I was there. I was in it one day. So I mean, like for it just started when I was young, like at 14. Like that was the trigger. Like that was the point. That was like I need to know. Like there's something else, and like it's also it bleeds over into everything for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it's like I'm always like seeking, and I think anybody in like content marketing has a little bit of that in them. You don't have to like paranormal or Bigfoot, but like I think that you're always kind of like just like
your
like
consciousness is always looking for more.
You're just kind of seeking for like and I mean you can go down a ton of weird rabbit holes, but for me it's like I get on a subject. It's like I'm fixated on it.
Yeah.
I've got to find out everything about that subject, and I won't stop. And it's like so.
That's why you're in marketing.
It's like I love like if you tell me like how, like I would be interested to know how this desk was made. Like I will, and so for me that's why I like making relationships with clients,
right?
Because it's like I had like the Boone Tractor that we do all their marketing for. Like I went to the salesperson. We talked for like 4 hours one day, just like, all right, so tell me like, all right, when is hay season? Like,
right.
Like what? Like I was so fascinated at the approach.
But it's valid for you to know that, especially if you're doing their marketing.
But it's easy because that's like it's genuine.
Yeah.
Like it's like how I live, and so it just so happens that I'm really interested in like aliens and cryptids and ghosts less so. I'll talk about it, but but like the other the creatures in the universe and just. Gosh, are we like? Is it multi-dimensions? Is it this, that,
right.
this? Are we in the simulation? It's like so. It's like I'm always like it's kind of like a love-hate thing.
Well, I think it's interesting that you took it from the approach of I'm a Christian, and then you continued because I agree.
Yeah,
I grew up Christian, still a Christian. But then as I got older, I was being creative juices flowing with somebody from the Y, and we had to bounce some ideas off of each other, and he was like, from now on, as we're doing, this creative bouncing, we can only say yes and. So if one of us says an idea, like, oh, let's do pirates. Cool, let's do pirates. Yes, and let's do aliens. Like you had to add it, and it made it so much better. So I kind of took that into my personal life from the Christian perspective of I'm a Christian, yes, and I'm very interested in mediums.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for me, and this could be a whole down the road, and you don't even have to include this, but like we grew up like we weren't Amish, but we were all practically Amish, right? So like I'm talking like no TV, no whatever for the longest time. So for me, it was like when I hit the age where I wanted more, and I was interested in movies. I was interested in like comic books. Like, so that was my personality, and that was totally against an old school way of thinking.
Yeah.
But I had an imagination.
Yeah.
And so for me, when that hit, it was like a flood. Like, and even still now, like there are times where like I didn't see this Friday the 13th movie in the 80s because I wasn't allowed to, right?
Yeah.
Not that it's a bad thing.
Right.
And like we weren't like Amish all our lives, but like for a period of time, and it was just like you grew up in that way, and it's like there's nothing wrong with it, and I love it and respect it, and it's part of me. And like so I see stuff now, and it's like this flood, like so it's like that's why for me it's so important that when I do get a chance to create, like I want myself to come through.
Yeah.
Because like 20 people may see it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, like I'm leaving something.
Right.
And I want people to at least be able, like, that was part of me, and I wasn't always like a machine that was doing, this by the book or client work, and I love that, but it's also like I kind of want some of me to come through.
You're
like
the definition of leaving a legacy.
Oh God, I hope it's good.
Oh no, it is. But
Yeah.
like I think that's what you're saying. You're like what
Yeah.
you're doing. You don't care who sees it or how successful it is. It's when we are in the ground.
Yeah.
What is left on the internet of us?
Yeah.
And isn't that petrifying to think
Yeah.
of? That's going to be our.
God help the
obituary.
next person who finds a Bigfoot suit.
Or an unedited piece of footage
Oh.
that we gotta write down.
It's so funny because I've got so many. When I first started, I've got so many unfinished projects that I nitpicked myself over to where I didn't even want to finish them, and I didn't.
Yeah.
And then now my first goal when I do something, when I pick it up, you got to finish it no matter how whatever. It can be horrible.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's got to get done.
And for same, I do weddings on the side.
Yeah.
And I nitpick
Yeah.
my footage so much, and it's like mentally it's really bad.
Oh, it's exhausting.
Like I need to go to therapy for it, for real. Like I know I do, but at the end of the day, I have to remind myself they chose me.
Yeah.
So they liked my footage. They liked my style for some odd reason. I don't know why I'm beating myself up over it.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of the money part. Because
you're getting paid to do it.
And it's the wedding part. It's the only day that they're ever going to get married. But
To that person.
True.
I'm joking. I'm saying that because I did a wedding and then
and he needs to do mine.
and
But we're talking about this.
like a couple of years later they got a divorce. I felt so bad, but the pictures were really pretty. But nobody will ever see them now. So it's
the same. Been through that. Or now it's been
awful.
they book me and they break up.
See,
I mean it is.
sad,
It is what it is.
but,
It happens.
but it's good for me because you get recurring jokes. Just joking.
You're not But if I ever had a wedding video done, I'd want it to be like The Office. That's it. No pressure, no stress.
It's, all right, so I usually don't do weddings anymore for that reason.
Yeah.
So can you imagine as a creator, and I'm sure Peter and everybody goes through this.
Yeah.
You do have to remind yourself that you were picked for this,
Right.
and that you are the professional
Yeah.
in it. And for the longest time, it's you kind of you're doing what you love, and then the second you have to look at it, I hate it. And then it's very exhausting, and that's why it's also important. And I'm still working on it,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, I've finally gotten to the point where it's in my mind, I'm comfortable with what I do.
Yeah.
And I know that the product that I send to the customer, because I take my time.
Right.
I know that what I send them is within the scope and expectations that we talked about.
Right.
And art and content is so subjective now.
Yes.
I don't think you'll make everybody happy.
No.
And I think you could do the best that you could possibly do.
Mm-hmm.
And Steven Spielberg could come in and do a commercial and still not make everybody happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that for you as a creator, that's why some part of your brain has to have a trigger where it's I don't care.
I don't care. You're right.
20 people can watch it and hate it. That's fine. But you've got to know that this is what I'm doing. This is okay.
Yeah.
After I get home from a wedding, when I do a commercial shoot, right? I will always give myself a day.
Yep.
I can't immediately look at the footage. I can't look at the pictures because I kind of mean I hate it.
Yeah.
I mess up. I did it. But then you take a little bit. You take a breath, and it's okay.
Yeah.
So I like you said in the beginning. Let's bring it full circle.
Yeah.
That your marketing person not that you need to coddle them or anything, but you do if they're creative. Like, know that, like, there's, like, always this just battle going in your brain with content this, and that. And I think it's healthy. I think it's like, I like that, you spend so much attention to what you put out that you kind of beat yourself up over it,
right. And it shows that you care, because if you weren't beating yourself up and or if the marketer wasn't beating themselves up and they just kind of put it out there. And
I've done that before.
Yeah, there's a clear difference.
You gotta, and you can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell. And I'm not saying every job doesn't warrant that, but I think that, now with being genuine and being transparent, like, just put some of your personality in it.
Right.
Let people see, because I guarantee you, people will respond in a better way than what you ever imagined.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then all of those thoughts that you had beating yourself up completely go out the window.
When you get 1 million likes on your TikTok, and then
1.9 million.
There you go.
And I have one growing. Hang on, hold on. I don't have my phone. Yes, I do.
We have to have an update.
I got to update this. I've been checking it a little too often. And I think that's the marketer in me where I'm like, I need more. Hold up. Oh, I'm on CTS's. I was like, wait, I only got one like.
Wait, hold on.
All right, we got a couple here.
Okay.
Yeah, people are freaking out. So we have another video trending at 186,000. 186.6K. And then
Are you taking sponsorship deals? Like, can you run a sponsor?
Of course. I mean, if the price is right. And then we have another one at 14.5 thousand.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my 1.9.
Yeah.
Iconic.
That's a good one. It's classic. That's vintage right there.
That's nostalgia.
It's the OG.
It is. That's I was furloughed. And I resorted to TikTok.
It's when the best stuff happens.
It really is, because my back was against the wall and I had to make money somehow. And I was like,
do
TikTok.
It. That's when the magic happens.
Yeah.
It's when you got to make it happen.
True. Well, thank you for coming on our podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
I have so much content I get to work with and I get to share out to the world. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention on what you do and how you want people to find out about you?
I love what I do. I am very blessed to be able to do what I do. And not a lot of people can say that. I can, and I am just thankful for it. And if you just need some advice or want video marketing, whatever, watch Creative Studios. Take a look at the video. That'll give you a pretty good idea about the tone. You'll know pretty quick about the style.
Yeah.
But and even if you don't call me, like, if you have a marketing place and you have somebody on staff, just love what you put out there.
Right.
Just love it. Just put some time into it, some love around it, and I promise you will feel like people will respond.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Period.
Just don't use Bigfoot without asking me, because it's kind of my thing.
It's kind of like his trademark.
I wish I could.
No, the government already did that.
The government already did it. They own everything on Bigfoot. Surprised they haven't knocked my door down.